I was given the scenario. I'll throw it out like this. So I was given the scenario of if you had an argument with your wife and you said, okay, and y'all decided take some time to kind of process what's going on and everything. And you say, okay, I'm going to use ChatGPT to kind of see how I need to respond to this. Okay. I mean, this is common. It's common talk. We all, ChatGPT is just that good. It kind of gives us some really,
it's the new Google.
Yeah. It gives us a good perspective on what we are, what we can say.
Yeah.
And just say you do that and you come up with the answer, ChatGPT answer. And you go back to your wife and you sit down and you go like, hey, babe. And you give this great oracle of things and she's really touched and she goes like, that was good. And she go like,
you're not that clever.
Yeah. Did you get that from ChatGPT? And you don't want to be you want to be an honest man.
Yeah.
And you go like, yeah, it helped me out. How's that gonna make her feel?
She's gonna feel like you were inauthentic with her, and she's gonna feel like that you are allowing technology to dictate, and or run your mind for you. She might not feel organic, but like you said, one of your points off camera as well was ChatGPT might have made a lot of sense. It might have made a really good point. And it could help both of you guys maybe in your relationship. I don't know. But I've never thought to use ChatGPT for something like a real life scenario, like a conversation with my wife or an argument with my wife. But I wouldn't find it the dumbest thing to do. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I think you're on point. And I think the challenge there comes, we are now relying on technology to the point where it is becoming the source of our wisdom. I put that out there.
Yeah.
And so now, as you stated, you use the word authentic. And so you kind of look at how do we become authentic? And this is really tough because we hate failing. We hate losing. We hate messing up. We hate being hurt. We hate going through pain. I mean, I can keep going.
Yeah.
We hate all those things.
Yeah,
you see?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
But authenticness comes through suffering, through grit, through perseverance, through resilience. That's where you get that authenticness from. And you're like, man, I done messed up a whole lot. I heard this concept, and this may be totally off. Somebody said, we talk about new birth in Christ, new birth like that. And they said, do you understand the labor pains that comes into process when you're bringing a new life into the world? And so therefore we take that to a spiritual aspect. So we think that we can come into the new life of Christ and everything without pain and suffering. And so this was a concept that drew up and made me think like, oh. And it said, when we typically find Christ when we're going through some real hell and the pain is there and the suffering and we have no other choice but to go through this hardship and you're like, you're struggling through. Why? Because it brings us to the point where we say, I'm birthing something. We come into that new life because we're like, this old is gone and I'm coming into this new light. And so, hey, I can reflect back on that and say, I no longer want to be there. And that's why, old song you say, I look at my hands and they look neat. Looked at my feet and they did too. It's just that concept of I've struggled through something. I've birthed something. The old shell has fallen off and I've come into the new. And so this is what the concept is. I think we have to look at in reference to this is we have to say, what have I been through that has changed me? And so I think what we have today, we have a lot of people in society. Why do we rely on technology? Why do we rely on these things instead of being who we are? Because we want a fast-paced thing. We want it like this overnight, and we don't want to struggle through it. I don't want to take, 20 years to get a degree. I just want to do it online.
Okay. All right. Now I got to.
All right, here we go.
Now let me rewind just a little bit, and let's just throw in a scenario. Let's say it's maybe a younger guy, because that's what I'm thinking, or maybe just a guy who's, can't articulate himself as well. You know what I mean? Moses did have Aaron. And so what if it's a younger guy or an inarticulate male who doesn't want to take 20 years to be able to communicate with his wife, but maybe, and I'm not trying to be an advocate for ChatGPT in between a relationship. I'm not doing that. But what I'm saying is, does the guy need to gain that type of experience? You know how like me and you like talking and being able to communicate and articulate ourselves at least on a decent level to where we can get across to the other person? Everybody can't do that, Mr. Lemzel. So what about that situation? What about that guy? Should he find another way to communicate this enhanced version of himself? Because he's asking chat what, you know what I'm saying, what to say to my wife to get this point across. And like you said, she said, did that really come from you? But maybe it helped him. Is it cool or not?
Yeah, I think, again, we're using everything within
I couldn't help
reason.
it. I wanted to get the bottom line. Like, is it cool? Because whether you know it or not, some people are going to use ChatGPT for their relationships.
Right. And this is what I'm saying. I think it's a great resource.
It is.
I mean, it has helped me. I've written so many books because it does a lot of the research for me, and it just puts it right there in my place. So now I have the ability to crank out books because, man, you know, I have an idea, I have a thought, I know where I want to go with it, and ChatGPT can help me. This is the challenge there. It can sound like a lot of great information, but it's not me.
But you've been a creative.
That's
it
right.
was there. It was there for you
go.
to use it as a tool to accelerate what you already had in your mind. I already know.
Right.
What you was already on before ChatGPT ever came out.
Right.
So it just helped you accelerate the process.
Right. It enhances what I'm already doing. So I think this is the challenge or the little mix up that can come. If you have not developed something and you put a tool there that acts like you have developed something, it can be to your demise. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So just say, for instance, if I'm struggling in my relationship and I'm not at a 12th grade level, so to speak, in my communication, but I'm at a 3rd grade level, and then now I go get ChatGPT to make it seem like I'm at a 12th grade level when I'm still at a 3rd grade level. No, that's a problem.
Yeah.
You see?
Yes, sir.
So what I'm saying, if you're at a 3rd grade level, you're going to have to discipline yourself and go through the process, the journey to say, hey, I'm developing. ChatGPT can help you out, but say, hey, no, I'm still here. Help me develop and become better here. So therefore, I can be here, and that's what I'm saying. That's where I think the authenticness comes in, to where I'm not going to allow ChatGPT make me something that I'm not. Versus I'm going to allow ChatGPT to help me. And that's back to self-discipline. That's back to self-discipline. Who am I? So therefore, ChatGPT can enhance me, not I'm going to be somebody through ChatGPT. And we see that in social media all the time. I'm going to, I like this pretty face. It's not me, but I'm going to put it out there to try to attract a lot of guys. Or I'm going to polish myself up to make sure I look a certain way. It's not really you. And then the guy gets you and you're like, dang, what in the world? That ain't what I saw. That ain't, all that, because we got all the filters and all the, the makeup and all that. And my point is just saying, I think the realness is where we are today, and it will help us to grow at the level, to go through this journey together and say, hey, this is where I am. I mean, people that are old don't want to be old. They want to be young. You got to accept who you are, and vice versa. People young want to be old.
You make me think about, each generation have a thing. And I think maybe our thing was the cell phone popped off in our little generation. And my son, for instance, the social media era, and now we on my daughter, she's 13. And so it's kind of like the Web 3 era or whatever, this brand new ChatGPT 5.0. She's only 13. So by the time she's 15, 16, this will be something in her life that's just like Google, or Facebook, right? And so moving forward, looking at the kids of the future, they'll develop relationship. That's going to be a thing in their relationships. That's not going to, they're not going to be able to have the false experience that chat or a chat box or some open AI app will give them. What do you think about that generation?
Well, I think the thing is that we feel that somehow or another, as technology advances, we as a human race and human nature are advancing too. That's not true.
That's not true.
That's not true. So the thing there is that relationships still take the same amount of time. I mean, I don't care how smart technology may be. It can help in farming and things like that. I'm using a farming analogy. It can help in farming, but you know what?
It can't
It's
till
still-
the grass. It can't till
That's right.
It can't till.
You see what I'm
for
saying?
Yeah,
It's still going to take that corn so many days to whatever germinate and all that process is still going to take. I need the bees and the things to pollinate it. I can help it out and things like that. It can help, but it doesn't take away from the natural processes. And that's where I think where we are here with humanity, building and developing relationships and being a person of character, going through trials, being able to have self-control, not getting angry when you're being angry and not going off and controlling your mouth and controlling your ability to hit and tear up stuff and all. ChatGPT and technology ain't gonna help with that.
Can't teach you that.
This internal being will continue to have to be controlled by you. Bottom line.
Okay, so I really wanted to talk about.
Here we go.
I want to talk about, because we're going there, and it's one of your newer books, and I think everybody can go check this out right now. We'll leave a link in the description. Disciplined Attention.
Yeah.
How godly focus breaks the grip of temptation. Can you give us any insight about this book? I want, because it sounds like we're talking about discipline.
Right.
At some point, you saying you basically gonna have to bring yourself under subjection.
Right.
But I can't get into this I can't be more mature than I am at 15, 16, 17, or even if I'm 25 and I'm always looking to chat or social media or friends or whoever for advice that don't come from me.
Right.
What is this discipline that you're talking about?
Well, discipline attention. Let me kind of go back a little bit more on the discipline part. And I love what Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, says. He says, all success, not some, all success comes through self-discipline. You have to discipline yourself to accomplish anything. I mean, for me to write these books, I can't be like, I'm going to do it today. For me to get in here, for me to work out, I can't just sporadically do this. And so that's the challenge to anybody that's listening to this podcast is you have to make your mind up and say, what is it that you want to do? And then you got to recognize that you decide that you want to do has to be universal in every aspect of your life. It can't be partial here and then a little bit more here and all that. You got to be all in. Okay, so.
Are you saying the way you do one thing is the way you do all things? I'm sorry.
The hard part is the ART. The heart part is got to be centered like that. You got to say, and don't knock all different personalities. I mean, I do understand there are going to be different personalities, different types of mindsets and all that is out there. Okay, so we understand that one that we use with Dr. Larry Little, who's here in town, and bless him, he uses the four animals, and that's the lion, the monkey, the turtle, and the camel. Okay, there's a real quick synopsis there. We've changed the monkey over to the parrot, but same concept. So we have the lion, who is very kind of a leader-driven, outgoing, roar like that, and just kind of that dictator type thing, and just pushing and making things happen like that. He kind of sees the vision and boom, let's do this and let's do this and let's do that. All right. And then we have the Campbell personality is more of methodical and task-driven and kind of the accountant type person and very tactical things like that. But they're very task-driven. I'm more of a Campbell, very task-driven that sometimes they don't care about people's feelings. They can just kind of march through and just get yourself together. Come on, let's go. That type of thing. And so you have that. And then we have the turtle is more of somebody that's wise, is analytical, very soft-spoken. If you really kind of come in the wrong way, they're going to kind of hide their head in the shell, so to speak. They're the one that's at the party, and they're just standing on the wall and like, you want to dance? No, I'm good. But they're talking about everybody. Oh, look at Sally. Look at Joe. Look at Bill. Look at, like they talk about everybody, but they themselves are not in there. So they're really observant. Okay, that's the turtle. And then we have the monkey. The monkey is what we call much loved monkey. They're the party setter. They're the one everybody, they're like, hey, let's party. When they get in, if they got they're going through the party, so to speak, and they just, hey girl, what's up? What's up, man? They're kind of doing that. And they got somebody that's kind of down and, oh man, I hope you feel better. Well, I'll tell you what, get with me later. And they go to the next one. Hey, they back up there. They're just kind of high energy going at it. Okay. So that's the much loved monkey. So you got those four different perspectives there. And so I went on that rabbit trail to kind of hopefully bring clarity to say, we understand there are different personalities and different things that come into to factor here. But when we say discipline, this is where the issue is that I know this is my strength, but also I know this is my weakness. And then I have to say I'm working on my weakness to make sure that I'm bringing it into an alignment of where I need to go. I'm also working on my strength that is not overpowering. I'm bringing it together to be the best version of who I need to be for the community or for the generation that I'm to serve. Okay?
Yes, sir.
And so now what you do is you recognize when I get with my spouse, I'm a Campbell lion. My wife is more of a monkey kind of lion. Okay? We can really hit heads like that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So she may have ideas and she's very strong about those. I'm going to have ideas and I'm very strong about it. Now, for the most part, our foundational piece, we're unified, you see? But there are some issues there that she does things that I don't like. She does, I do things that she doesn't like. That's just a natural thing there. But the maturity comes and the discipline comes is I don't have to always say that. Because guess what? Even if I say it after being married almost 30 years, even if after I say it, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to change. But then we kind of justify ourselves like, I'm just going to voice my opinion. I need to get it out. Okay. But listen, there's something called timing. You don't need to voice your opinion possibly in the setting where it doesn't fit. But you maturity and disciplining yourself to say, I don't have to say that then. I can table that. Matter of fact, that's the way I see it. That's the way I would like it. It's not happening that way. That frustrates me. But you know what? I'm going to calm down, take a chill pill, and then I may address that tomorrow or next week, like that. And a lot of people I've heard, I got to do it right now when it's on my mind. Well, okay. You do it when it's on your mind. Tell me where that gets you. Because if your spouse, or whomever she or he is not in that zone where they're receptive of it, then you just sharing your feelings escalates things even worse. And I'm all over the place. So
I think the entire audience is loving everything that you're saying, and I really appreciate you for joining us and all the value that you bring. I truly do. Now, because I hear a lot of alpha sigma mix energy as far as the male, and so what if I gotta, because I think this can help some guys out here, because there's a lot of guys. You were fortunate to be born in wedlock and raised under both parents.
Right.
I was too, praise God. and so, but the majority of guys aren't. Yeah. So now, what about the guy who doesn't have that emotional intelligence that you was talking about, where, oh, okay, she just hit me right there. I don't gotta immediately check her right here or bring this to the light right here. I can, like, what did you say? I can desk that or whatever. I can take that right now on the chin, keep it moving. And maybe this time next week when we're out to eat, maybe I can address that or whatever. But sometimes ladies are tough cookies and they'll give you a tough pill to swallow. What about the more emotionally unstable guy in that type of the same situation? How would he get to that level of experience to get to where you at? Because you said I'm in a 30-year marriage, and I know at this point, wifey over here tripping, and I'm just going, okay, it's all good. I'm gonna take that right now. Maybe we can address that at a later time, because like you said, this might be an issue that I don't like about her, or some weird characteristic about her that I don't like, but it's not gonna change it. And me getting off right now in front of whoever or wherever we at, because kids are wilding out right there, wherever. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So how can that young man or that young lady with 0% emotional intelligence, how can they operate in some of these things? I gotta ask for, because you're here, and so I gotta ask.
Well, I think it's a loaded question.
It's definitely loaded. I'm sorry for all those bullets.
I'm going to try to dissect it a little bit as best as I can. The first thing is, I think, for lack of a better word, we got to man up or woman up, whichever one is. What does that mean? That means I have to take responsibility of where I am, okay? And then when I really realize, and I think I have this in my book, 7 Steps to Your Next Level. That's a book I wrote long ago, probably about 10, 12 years ago, but it just popped in my mind.
Is it on the website?
Yeah, that one is.
Link in the description.
The PDF is definitely there. So the first thing you have to say, I have to assess where I am, and I'm just going to make reference to this book because I think it's a great illustration in there. And I use the illustration in the book is that if I'm right here, wherever you are, wherever you're located, right now we're in Decatur, Alabama. I have to say this is where I am. When you open up ChatGPT on your phone and you put in a location of where you want to go, it asks, what's your current do you want to use your current location or do you have another location that you want to use? Now, this is the key. Way back, it didn't put your current location automatically in there. You had to put in your location. Mm-hmm. And this is the fact here. Many of us are lying about where we really are. So if I'm in Decatur, Alabama, and I want to go to California, but I don't like Decatur, Alabama, I like Atlanta. So therefore, I put Atlanta in there.
You're going to get false coordinates, though.
That's right. Exactly. And so this is the problem here with where I'm trying to paint this picture. Yeah. So this is the problem here is that we recognize that we mentally want to be somewhere that we're not. Okay? If I have zero EQ, emotional intelligence, I need to be honest with myself and say, I don't have that. Now, once you identify that, and say, where do I want to go? I want to have emotional intelligence. I want to grow. I want to develop it. Then you have to say, I'm going to have to, again, this discipline attention in that book. I have to say, if that's where I am, I have to focus my attention and I got to be adamant about every single day. I want to make sure my mindset is going in that direction. That's the only way you're going to improve. But you know what we want to do is I want to take a pill and I want to wake up there. Oh, I'm there. It's no struggle. Take a pill and I can get all the muscles and the biceps and the healthy body and everything. No, it's got to be eating right every day, working out at least every other day. It's got to be making sure that you get the right sleep every day. You see, the consistency develops who you and I need to be, right? So that's the first portion of that question. Yeah. So, and back to the marriage part. And so my challenge to the guys out there, challenge to the girls out there is going to say, what do you want from your marriage? Or your relationship? What do you want from it? Because if you want a healthy marriage and you want to make sure you committed, then the thing is you have to be adamant about finding out what it takes to get there. And ChatGPT can help. It can give you the tools to do it, but it can't put it in you and take you through the steps and the necessity to do it. You see? You got to say, hey, I got to do it. ChatGPT helps me, like I said, with a lot of my books and things like that. But guess what? It doesn't put it in the format. It doesn't go through. It has a lot of typos in it. I got to read that joker back and forth. It got to flow. I got to make sure that my stories and my element and things I want in are put in there. ChatGPT doesn't do that. It does a lot of the research for me. It helps a lot of thoughts come in. It helps when I can't think of a quote. I'll say, hey, give me a quote on such and such and such thing. Boom. Oh, man, I didn't even think about that one. What book did that come out? You see, I can ask those questions, and it's giving me relevant information. But I have to take that information and apply it over here and say, okay, this is how this needs to fit up here. That's the human part. And that's the part that's related. That's what I said. What comes from the heart reaches the heart. What comes from the head can miss the head. So you got to look at it that way. So discipline attention. That book is primarily on, let's say a lot of it's on leaders and just saying, hey, we have to focus our mindset on where we're going. I was going to do an illustration with you, you know me and illustrations, but I'll hopefully paint this one with words. Let's just say I have a handful of...
You don't want to do the demonstration? We would love for you to give us a demonstration.
Well, I think you can get it. Let's just say I'll do it like this. I'll have these three things in my hand. All right. Let's say I throw these three things to you. And I say, Major, catch all of them.
But they all gonna come at different times.
They're gonna come that's right. And I tell you to catch all of them.
They're not gonna
and
be
you're probably not gonna catch any of them. You see?
Yeah.
But if I take all of them and I say, Major, I want you to catch the phone, and I throw it to you, and then guess what you're gonna do? When I say catch the phone, immediately your eyes lock into the phone, and when I release it, your eyes are gonna go boom, and your hand is gonna follow your eyes.
Yeah.
And that's what it is with the discipline attention or whatever it is. You got to recognize that, hey, when we're locked into something, then we recognize, man, things start popping up, start feeding us. It's kind of like, it's like this. You could be passing by many, many different colored cars. And I say something like, I want you to count all the red cars. Guess what? You start popping up, man, red car, red. I mean, you go like, man, I didn't even know there's many red cars out here, you see? Or we've all noticed this too. We buy a new car, And then we fail to recognize that how many other cars are just like ours when we like, man, I thought this was going to be the only one in the neighborhood. You see, everybody got the same car. And so what happens is that's that attention is being going there because we are apparently putting more in that area that's feeding our focus of where it's feeding into, okay? And so the same thing happens in relationships, same thing happens at work. And if we want success, how does that look? How does that, what are we focusing our attention on? And so on and so forth.
Now, I had to ask that because
hopefully I answered it.
Yeah, you definitely answered it. You definitely answered it. No, but it was a loaded question, and thank you so much for answering it the most eloquent way that you did. Now but the reason that I had to ask that is I'm gonna go back to something you said. You said first I got to find out where I'm at, and I'm pretending in my mind I'm in Decatur, Alabama, but I'm lying like I'm in Decatur, Georgia, because I don't want to be here. Okay, and so equivalent to I was raised by my emotional mother, but I'm a male and I think I'm acting like a man, but I'm not. And I don't want to admit that I might, handle things in a feminine manner with my lady. Henceforth, some of the, all the domestic, the DV, the domestic violence happening.
Yeah, I was coaching the guy that dealt with the same thing, and I had to shut him down. But anyway, go ahead.
And so and that's great. But I
can share that story if you want, but go ahead.
I just wanted you to be able to help some of the guys who don't want to admit where they are and what it is, you see. And I mean, I had an overly masculine dad, and I had a wonderfully feminine mother. And so it was a great balance there.
You looking at the camera like you're looking at it, be like, oh.
Well, they might watch me. They root me on. Praise God.
Yeah.
You see, they tell me to keep doing what you're doing and don't pay nobody else no mind, which give me this confidence.
Right.
And this ain't a false location.
Right.
This is where I'm truly at.
Right.
And so I was just hoping that you might could help some guy to admit where they truly at, so they can really move to their final destination.
Yeah. Well, let me say it this way. If you do not accept where you are, you will not get where you need to be, you want to be, you will not grow. If I'm not honest with myself and I'm lying to myself, I cannot expect to change. That's just point blank. That's true talk. That's what we say. And so I have to recognize that, my first chapter in that book is I need to establish where I am. Okay. The second thing is I need to establish where do I want to go. Okay. So once you kind of know where you are, then I need to say, okay, this is where I'm going to go. Then the third step is going to be what's the course I need to take there? What are the obstacles, things like that. And so the book kind of, that book really brings out, really thinking through each step. It's a workbook that really kind of brings out each step of where you need to go to get there. But anyway.
Now, to another book, Clear Purpose Over Clear Problems.
Yeah, I got that one right here.
Oh, you got it with you?
Yeah.
Okay, I know it's an amazing book. Now, because, and it sounds like we're going into that as well.
Yeah.
So, and I think this is no matter how old a person is, I think we should definitely have clear purpose over our clear problems.
Yeah.
And we do have clear problems.
Yeah.
How do you hold on to purpose over something that's so right now? Something that's such a problem right now, a clean-cut issue right here that I need to worry about this issue right now, opposed to my purpose.
Right. So I think we make this more complicated than it really is, first of all. And the reason I say that is just to say, for instance, let's name some clear problems that we have, okay? Let's just say the car is running on low gas, low fuel, okay? That's a clear problem, okay? And we got to be somewhere. And so the thing is that our purpose is we're going to be somewhere, so that problem is going to be fixed. Let me go to the gas station. Let me stop right in here. I don't have much time, but I'm going to zip in here. I got to put some gas in my car, and then I get back on track on my purpose. You overcame that problem. It was a clear problem, but your purpose superseded that, so you fixed it, got it together, and you went on. You see? So we do it. Let's just say, for instance, another problem. The baby is crying. It's a problem. So here is to say, okay, do you drop what you got to do? Hey, I got to get dressed for work. The baby is crying. I may not have gotten much sleep last night, but you know what? That is just, I got to accept that fact, fix the baby, change the diaper, whatever has to be done, feed the baby, that type of thing. Let's keep on track. Let's get to the destination. That's our purpose, you see? So in this book, what I bring out are clear factors, and everything of the problems in that book are all start with C's. Criticizing, condemning, comparing, condemning, criticizing. Let me see. Let me look into all the C's are the ones they're in there. So complaining, criticizing, comparing, competing, controlling, condemning, confusing, complacency. So those are things that guess what? Somebody is really better than you in this. That is a problem for your success, for where you want to go. But guess what? Who they are, let them be who they are. Who I am, I need to develop who I am. And when we get out there, we say, let the best man or best woman win.
Now, you know, this podcast is called S Major. So I gotta give you a real scenario that a lot of people deal with.
Okay.
And I want you to help whoever you can help. I want you to help us. So this is the issue. I have a clear problem. I'm dealing with grief and death in the family, and I'm not able to get over it fast enough for my family, for my kids, for my daughter, for my wife, for my husband, et cetera, et cetera. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Now, this is a real problem. Could be considered a paradigm shift in someone's life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they do have to keep going on purpose if they're going to, I don't know, remain successful or go to where they're going to, be that helpmeet to their husband, be that provider male to their wife, whatever the scenario is. Yeah. What about real death? What about, I got to throw that one at you.
Yeah, I think it's good. And just, being transparent here, this past Father's Day was very difficult for me. My dad died 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I got up that Sunday morning, thought I was fine. Cool. My wife said, hey, where you want to eat? Like that, we're going to take you out to eat. And I said, hey, why don't we go to Cracker Barrel? That's where my dad loved to eat at Cracker Barrel. I said, well, let's go to Cracker Barrel. So we were coming out of Hartselle, and so went to Cracker Barrel out in Hartselle. And man, I got in there and I just had like an emotional rush. And I was like, I was commemorating and all that, man. I was not the same. And I wish I could say once I left, I was okay, but I wasn't. I had other things to do. I think I had to be somewhere, had a meeting or something that after I left that Sunday evening, all that. So I couldn't take that moment and process. But because I didn't process it, it didn't mean that I wasn't mentally
there,
stuck in that. So and literally, it was Sunday, Monday morning. I went to work, but I literally almost closed my door and I didn't want to talk to anybody. This is being transparent. This is, hey, Lemzel Johnson, the motivator, this person who's got all the answers and all this stuff together. Hey man, I'm going through what we call a depression point.
And we used to you having a super high energy.
Hey, I am going through literally, I'm not gonna say suicidal thoughts, but literally like, what am I doing? I'm just there, and I'm like, hold on, man. And grief comes in different stages. Okay, I didn't really grieve a lot when I knew my dad was sick for a while and everything like that. So when he passed, it was kind of like, hey, he's not suffering anymore, that type of thing. So it was kind of a comfort there. So, but I think that void that is gone. Or should I say that person that is feeling an area of your life is now a void. I should say it that way, and it's never going to be replaced. My dad's never going to come back. It's just there. It's just that hurt is there. So if you fixate on that, it's like, so this is what I would say. This is what I had to do. It's something when you've written a book on it, and you have to pull out your book.
See, I didn't even
and
know
read your own.
I didn't even know.
Read your own book and materials over this. I sat down. I probably read that night before I went to bed. I read half of the book. I got up the next morning and read the other half of the book. Trust over effort. And this was speaking to me that, Lemzel, but this was speaking to me saying, hey, Lemzel, you have to recognize it's not all about you. Your feelings are true, okay? And that's where I want to get to this one, This book is powerful, powerful, powerful. This is the one I was sharing with a person in the Charlotte airport here. And so I had to recognize that book and this book, I had to focus my attention and recognize that, Lemzel, you can stay there if you want to. You can stay in your dad's gone, the hurt. You can't call on him when you need to call on him, all that. I can stay there. And I can start fixating on that, and I can start being grieved and getting grief in there. But I had to stop. I had to say, hold on, bro. Your dad set you up to have all that you have today. He gave you the structure. That's his purpose. That was his purpose in your life, to give you an anchor and a foundation to be able to grow. And that's what you're supposed to be doing for your kids, giving them a focused foundation, because you're not going to be here forever. So I can't get caught up in the inevitables. Everybody, I think last I checked statistical data, I think everybody dies.
Everybody dies.
So the thing is that when?
But grief is so huge.
Grief is so huge. So this is my thing is, I think grief, and for me, grief, when you allow the grief to supersede your purpose, you get it mixed up and you get stuck in that. But I had to recognize my grief, you're real. I'm not going to say that you're not. Your feelings that you have are real. But who you are and who you've become because of that is important. Here's another concept. I'm working on this book, not out yet.
Okay.
But I had to take this concept. I was listening to a podcast and this concept of PTSD. We've heard of that, right?
Yeah.
Post-traumatic stress disorder. Okay. And this guy said post-traumatic stress disorder, we usually think about soldiers who come back from wars or women that have been in an abusive situation or children that have grown up abused. We usually think about the post-traumatic there. But this guy opened my mind and made me start researching it. It's something called PTSD. Make you look like, what could that be? Post-traumatic stress wisdom. You and I have to make a choice that I learn from my stresses and the things that are trauma to me. I learn from it. Why? This is what makes great counselors. This is what makes great speakers. This is what makes great teachers. Why? Because they didn't allow their struggles and their stresses and their difficulties to dominate them. They said, I take that and I'm able to teach and help somebody else get through it. So now I gain wisdom of what I went through. And it's no longer piercing me like it's just happening. But now I use it as a badge of saying, look at my scar. I went through this here. And because of that, boom, I can help you bump on me. You see?
Through it too. Yeah.
Look at my leg. I got a prosthetic leg here. I went through this. But I learned how to recognize that it's not necessarily about my body, but it's about my mind and how I can educate people. You see? Mm-hmm. So now you don't look at the things that are holding you down, your anchors or your things, or your ropes that are pulling you down, so to speak. You look at, where am I going? What can I reach for? What can I help? You see? Now you're going that way. And so what am I saying? Is it easy? That's another book I have. I don't think you probably haven't. I sent it to you. But it's called, you got to choose your heart. Choose your heart. It's all hard. Guess what? I mean, in that book, Choose Your Heart, I talk about, okay, you don't like going to school and getting an education. Oh, it's so hard, man. It's so hard to study, man. It's so hard. Okay, that's hard. But guess what? It's hard not to have an education, a degree, and gotta struggle through and get now try to get a GED and then gotta try to hustle and get jobs and everybody's against me and all that. Man, no, you chose your heart.
Can we transition into that? Real quick.
That's a whole nother clip.
I know it is. But I would love to transition into that simply because I've heard it put this way. But you basically just said the same thing. But I heard it put this way. It's harder to be poor than rich. And I was like, what? And I was like, yes, it's a little harder to be poor. And it was several reasons why it was harder to be poor. And it was basically summed up into what you're saying. Mm-hmm. You have to choose something that you're going to do. If you choose to set a goal of 10 million annually, you might not meet that mark, but you might end up at a million annually. You might. But if you don't choose that, it'll never be that. But who wants to choose being a bum. But it happens though. But
Right.
nobody claims to have chosen this
Right.
or to be the addict or to be the alcoholic or anything like
Right.
that. Nobody chose this, but they did choose it.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, I think the thing is we have, even the Bible references. The Bible said, God says, "I set before you life and death." I would that you choose life. So people say, "Well, I don't choose death." Well, this is what I would say. It's kind of a facade. It doesn't look like, either one is whatever beneficial in the moment.
But death is attractive.
That's right. I mean, just like sin is attractive, man.
Yeah.
That's why people say it all the time. It looks good. It feels good. All that. But we recognize that's why it says the wages of it. That means that once I've done all the work, then my pay is death. You see, it doesn't mean that I'm not enjoying it in there. So that's why I think it's saying. So a real scenario. So when I look at a young person that is on the verge of dropping out of school, he or she is struggling with, I want to hang with the big dogs. I want to roll here. I want to do what I want. I don't want to have any constraint. I don't want anybody telling me what to do. You see, that's what they're gravitating to. They're wanting that. And it's attractive and that freedom and all that. But then they don't understand that the wages and the repercussions of that has you in a place now where you're not disciplined because you didn't discipline yourself to go through school. But yeah, it was hard. But you chose the easy path now, and it's an analogy. You may have seen this too on TikTok. It's an analogy where they have the kind of the cord. You're both here, and one goes down and does this, and the other one does this. And so it's like the analogy is that you're both are here. One chooses the easy path of kind of not much structure, discipline. They're going down. The other one chooses a lot of discipline, structure, going up like that. And then you get to the edge of the bell curve, and then you recognize that the latter part of this person's life is easy. And this latter part of life is very hard, you see, to the point of where you come to death. You see? So you have to choose. That's kind of where that analogy came. Choose your heart. You got to recognize, do I choose my heart at the beginning or do I choose my heart at the end? And so the thing is, I'm saying that usually in life, you want to make sure if you choose your heart to become very disciplined, you have a much greater ability to make an impact. Versus I'm just doing this here. Then now you coming back and trying to say, well, I got that. A lot of people come out of prison and jail and all these different significant baggage on them, and they're making an impact later on in life. But it's very difficult, very hard to get there. You see, where you have people that studied and got their doctorates and all those type of things, different skills and different trades. And
Which
now
was very difficult.
That's right. It's very difficult. But then they're making an impact based on what the struggle they went through at the beginning of their life. These saying it's easy, I made all these mistakes, and they're trying to make the impact while struggling through. You see? So that's where it is.
Yeah, I heard my brother told me, and I don't know where he got it from, but he told me that a man is going to struggle when he old or young. You pick which one, and he said that you much rather suffer when you younger, work your way up, like you said, whether it's a PhD or whether it's 25 years at the plant, whatever, choose your heart. Whatever you choose, you're going to suffer at some point, and then you're going to have ease. Or you're going to screw off your younger years and, have ease, and like you said, that rough landing, or or the crash and burn. Either one. So
yeah.
I choose tough now. Opposed to in my 60s or 70s.
Well, and it's hard to see sometimes. You can't see the benefit of, because again, it goes back to that scenario of planting the grain of corn. You don't see the development stage. You kind of wondering, when is it going to produce? I can kind of see it growing, but it's not able to produce anything yet. So I think it's a process of when does that change come? And I think and then you look back and you start saying, man, hey, it's kind of like me. I'm like, man, I'm still struggling, man. I'm struggling hard. But then I look at, dude, you done flown around the world. You've written 30 some books. You've done this. I mean, all of it's coming through great hardships and everything, but your discipline that you had early on in life makes writing books a lot easier. Because you paid attention to your graphic designer, you could design the covers of these books yourself. You see? Now, so I'm like, okay, because I discipline myself there, enables me to now, can I crank out a book every other month? You see? Can I make sure, and not just cranking out a book to be cranking out a book, but I'm like, hey, this is an idea that needs more like that. Because like the lady I was telling you about in the airport, I didn't have time to stand there and talk to her for hours and hours on what, of wisdom I could share with her. But I gave her 4 or 5 books that have concepts of just focus right here. Hey, this will help you. Why? Because I've already studied and gone through this in PCN. So guess what? Within a minute, I could give her a material that she can take time combing through, and it speaks life into her. You see?
Yeah, that's huge.
And that's it. But it doesn't come because, oh man, I'm gonna be a writer one day. No, it wasn't. It's never that. Oh, I'm gonna be a speaker one day. No, it was never that. Oh, I'm gonna lead young people one day. No, it wasn't never that. It was just saying, hey, wherever I am, let me see if I can maximize it and do the best I can do. And I think if you have that mindset, you get up every day. This is another book I wrote. I think it's called. This one's good too. I'm tired.
I really wanted to ask about I'm tired, but because I know a lot of people can get a lot of value out of it, and it's a lot of people that actually is tired right now. I want to say around close to 300,000 women just lost their jobs the other week in America. I don't know if you know what's going on, what time it is with the.
What was that?
The fall of EDI.
The fall what?
Equity, diversity, and inclusion.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They phasing out. They don't need you. They letting the computers do everything. They don't need all those government jobs, and it's then popped off. And women more so than men these days, they're just tired.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the concept, this may be a whole nother shot, but the concept of I'm tired is.
But I'm not done.
Yeah.
I don't know if they can see that.
Yeah, I don't know if they see it either. But again, you can put links to all these books on there. So all of these are PDFs. You can get the PDFs for $10, but it is. So I'm tired came out of the perspective of I'm seeing people say, hear them, do, they're tired. And I was like, what does this mean? When you say I'm tired, what do you mean? You mean you need to go get a nap? You need to go get some sleep?
I'm fatigued of this situation or this particular situation. Maybe
that's one too. So
I'm tired of going to work these 12 hours. I'm tired of. Unfortunately, I'm tired of raising these children by myself.
Right.
Like it's a lot too. I'm tired.
Yeah.
So
I'm tired. So the reason I said I'm tired, but I'm not done, because it means it's an old song that says, I think Kirk Franklin wrote it. It said, if you still have breath in you, you still got purpose to do. So that book was written, I'm tired, but now what? Or what's wrong, or that type of thing. And so I think the tiredness comes, just what I believe now, what I believe the perspective is. I think, and I'm trying to get away from I think. This is what I believe, because I think is not a leadership word. That's what he said. It's just think is just like, oh, that's all. But when you say I believe, this is really what you're rooted and grounded in.
Convicted.
That's it. So what I believe, when you are clear on your purpose, that's why all these books kind of tie together. When you clarify your purpose, is another one. When you clarify that purpose, and you start recognizing, when you start clarifying your purpose and you start recognizing, okay, I may think I'm tired. I may think I'm on the verge of burnout, but you know what? I got to make sure that I'm in the right spot, because I believe that when you are in where the place you're supposed to be, and as an illustration I do in my training, I talk about when your clear purpose, or your purpose will always fit into your unique calling or area that you're supposed to be placed in. So how does this work? If you get up, this is kind of how, I'll give a scenario, then I'll tell you how it applies even to my life today, where I see where I am and what's all going on with the city and everything, my job. So let's just say you get up in the morning, you're on the beach for, you got a vacation on the beach for a couple of days, and the tide comes in and washes in thousands of starfish. You're on the beach, and you just get up that morning, you just walk in and you say, man, I'm just going to start throwing some starfish back. There's no way possible for you to do all of them, but you do a few. And for an hour, you do a few and everything. And then you go back to your room and say, you know what? It was cool, man. I'm going to get up in the morning and I'm going to do the same thing. Throw back something like that. Next day, get up, throw back. And then you start saying, you know what? I think I need to, I need to maybe start a fund or something like, you see. What am I saying? Is that your purpose is going to pull you into it and go like, man, you see? You start having dreams about it. You see? And so this is where I think the catch is. A lot of people have gotten jobs because they were good jobs and it was making money and all that, but it's not in alignment with who they are.
Aligned with their purpose.
You see?
Okay.
So I think if you identify what your purpose is and really get that clarity there, that's what that book kind of is. Once you get clarity there,
then I won't get tired.
You won't, because it drives you. I'm not saying you're not going to need rest.
And it is purpose.
It is purpose. And listen to this. Statistics say 95% of people do not know their purpose.
Yeah. How does that happen for men? How do men not, specifically men, how do men not find their purpose?
We get comfortable. We just get into stuff. We go to school and we hear all these different things, and then people are told that, hey, you can do this, you do that, and you kind of start looking at the figures of the money and just maybe what interests you, and now you start
I'm gonna just go with the bag.
And then now you just like, okay, let's go. I mean, many of CEOs that I work with are people that are in their jobs, they're making six figures plus.
Don't care nothing about it.
And they're like, man, this ain't it. I mean, I was watching The Masked Singer, and I didn't do the research on it, but the guy that's the comedian, John Kim, the Asian guy yeah.
I think I know who you're talking about.
He's a real doctor. I think he's like
didn't know that.
He's a real doctor, but he got, I think 10 years ago or so, he kind of started getting into comedy, and then he started doing something like that, and he said, man, this is it. He didn't go to medical school. He's done all these things, but he started recognizing, man, hey, I'm called to do this. And then we got into it, and guess what? Do you think he has to get up and think about the next joke he's going to do? It comes to him naturally.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm saying. Wherever you are naturally, you don't have to really think. It's like me, you say, hey, man, do a podcast. I ain't stressing over, oh, man, what am I going to say?
Yeah.
When I do a speaking engagement, I ain't like, oh, man, oh, man, I'm so tired. Man, it's like, okay, we got to go. All right, man, let's go.
Yeah.
Come on, baby.
Yeah.
Come on, baby, let's go. Like that. And then when I get there, I'm not stressing out on stage and, oh, man, I got 1,000 people in front of me. No, I'm like, hey, this is what we were born to do. I'm in my point. I'm in my area.
Look at this opportunity standing in front of me. I got the opportunity to speak in front of
speak
1,000 people. Wow.
Yeah, that's what it is. Whether I'm getting paid 10, 20,000, or whether I'm getting paid $10. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's an opportunity. Why? Because I recognize my purpose is to pour everything that I have within me into that moment. Now, when I get finished pouring out, I'm exhausted. I'm tired. Woo. Man, I poured out. But guess what? What happens if I walk up to somebody and they need some more
energy
comes up. I'm like, hey, baby, come on.
Like they gave you the fuel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's how you know that you're in that element.
Yeah.
So same thing here with all this going in the city and not being the director of what I came to be and everything like that, and then finding in there. So now you got Johnny Jones, who's the director. Woo, 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 woo. He's the director, and everything. But
shout out Johnny Jones.
Moo boo. So when I look at that and I say, okay, he's in that area. So God, you put me here to dream and have vision and to help him be the best he can be, you see? So therefore I'm sleeping at night and waking up and dreaming like, oh man, hey, tell him this. Hey, encourage him to do this. Well, you see? So now it's here, and this is what I call an armor bearer or your right-hand man or the person that's kind of second in command is there pushing you up where you're thinking of dreaming here, but you got somebody that's praying in your corner and behind your back, and they're ushering you on to this next level. That's what you got to have. And when you're in that element, you say, hey, God, I'm where I need to be. Where I need to be, man. Hey, let me encourage.
That's the ability to support someone that you didn't know that you would be supporting.
Right.
I think that's huge. We're going to wrap this up. And I really appreciate you coming. But I need you to let us know who you are, because we immediately jumped into ChatGPT dating, which I can't believe that we covered, and it's going to be, I think that's just going to be an awesome pod. But I definitely
talk more on that
need everybody to know where they can find you at and who you are and where these books are at.
All right. Lemzel Johnson is my name. Lifeversation.com is the website. And so what we look at is trying to help you become the best person that you can be, finding that purpose and growing in that area. So lifeversation.com, all the resources are there. The books are there. If you need to see that, lifeversation.com/resources takes you right to the page with all the books on it. So, hey, enjoyed it. Hey, man, good stuff.
I think Which one was my favorite so far?
I don't know.
I think I think it's clear purpose over clear problems. And we'll leave a link in the description to all these books right here, guys. I think all these right here will be available at least on PDF.
Yeah,
At
they're
least
PDF, yeah.
on PDF.
Yeah.
So will any of these be available if somebody want to just buy a hard copy? Because
Yeah.
a lot of people that might be watching, you know, some of my audiences are old. I got a valuable audience. You know what I'm saying?
That's good. Yeah.
And some of them are older, and some of them might want the hard copy. Can I get these hard copies?
Some of them are no problem on hard copy. They are the hard copy is $35. Like I said, the PDF is $10. So no problem there. But if they need to, if I don't have it already printed, I can probably print it at home.
Yeah.
So and have it for them. So no problem at all.
I love it, man. And I enjoyed the value every time. I enjoy the value.